If these words have reached you right now, it's no coincidence. This is not a random moment or some algorithm placing text in front of your eyes. Something deeper, something beyond logic has drawn you here. Your soul, restless and searching for understanding, sent out a signal, and the universe responded. The person who lingers in your thoughts, the one whose silence has left a hollow ache, whose absence feels like a missing limb, is the reason you found this message. Your intuition, that quiet inner knowing often buried beneath doubt, led you here. It nudged you toward clarity, promising that the confusion you've been carrying would begin to make sense. And as always, that intuition speaks truth. The silence you've been enduring is not what it appears to be. It is not indifference. It is not a sign that they've moved on. It is far more profound, far more complex, and far more hopeful than your heart has allowed you to believe.
What you're about to realize will shift everything you thought you understood about their absence. The story you've been telling yourself, the one where you weren't enough, where they found someone else, or where the connection was one-sided, is about to unravel. Their silence is not a rejection. It is a reflection of the intensity of what they feel. It is not emptiness, but a flood of emotion so vast that words cannot contain them. They have retreated, not because they do not care, but because they are overwhelmed by feeling too much, too quickly, too deeply. Carl Jung said that what we resist persists, and what remains unconscious appears as fate. This is exactly what is happening here. They are resisting the depth of what they feel for you because to fully acknowledge it would force them to face everything they've avoided in themselves. Their silence is the sound of an inner battle, the push and pull between recognizing you as home and fearing what home asks of them. Each person carries an invisible threshold of emotional intensity shaped by past wounds and unhealed parts of themselves, and without even trying, without even knowing, you reached past that limit. You became too real, too present, too close to the heart of who they are, and their only instinct was to pull back, to create space, to go quiet. But know this: silence does not mean forgetting. Silence does not mean moving on. Silence is where the hardest work is being done, and it is within that quiet that their truth exists. They wake in the dead of night, around 3 a.m, your name slipping from their lips as they lie tangled in sheets that feel emptier than before you existed in their world. They reach for their phone, drafting messages they'll never send, typing and deleting, typing again until the words blur and defeat wins, leaving the screen face down. During the day, they perform as though everything is normal, smiling when expected, responding when spoken to. But underneath it all, they are drowning in the absence of you, in the choice they made to put distance between themselves and the one thing that felt real. Friends don't notice, family doesn't suspect, but inside their mind, you are everywhere, both a torment and a comfort, a presence that refuses to fade, no matter the distractions or the passage of time. What they are feeling isn't simple regret or casual missing. It's the fear and awe of encountering someone who became a mirror, someone whose very being reflected all the unhealed parts they've carried, the patterns they've repeated, the half-lived life they mistook for survival. By simply being yourself, open and present in a way they had never known, you revealed their shadow without intending to. Jung described the shadow as the parts of ourselves we refuse to see, the hidden storehouse of everything denied, rejected, or buried in our consciousness. When two people meet in genuine connection, each reflects the other's shadow, and that is exactly what you did. You held up a mirror to their fear of intimacy, their habit of fleeing when things get real, their belief that they aren't worthy of the love they secretly crave. They didn't run from you. They ran from the intensity of seeing themselves through your eyes, from the vulnerability required to meet you fully, from the responsibility of showing up for something bigger than they felt capable of handling. But fleeing does not erase the mark you've left on them. You are not just another fleeting presence. You are the earthquake that shook the foundations of their inner world, the catalyst for a transformation they never asked for, but needed more than they realized. There was a moment early on in your connection when something in them recognized something in you, a knowing that bypassed logic, reason, and all the walls they had spent years building to protect themselves from exactly this kind of intensity. Jung compared the meeting of two personalities to the contact of chemical substances. If a reaction occurs, both are forever changed. What happened between you created a reaction so powerful that its aftershocks are still rippling through both your lives. They have met other people, felt attraction before, even experienced moments of connection that seemed meaningful at the time. But what happened with you was entirely different. It was a recognition that reached deep into past lifetimes and forward into futures not yet written, a resonance that made every previous relationship feel like preparation for this one encounter. You shook them to their core simply by being yourself, by bringing a presence and frequency they had been unconsciously searching for all their life without even knowing it. In your eyes, they saw a version of themselves they had given up hoping existed, and that is why they cannot just move on. Despite the silence, the distance, the time, they remain energetically tethered to you, a connection that disturbs, confuses, and comforts them all at once. You appear in their dreams, in songs that make their chest ache, in the comparisons they make with everyone new, because you are not random, you are not practice. You were the earthquake, and they are still learning to stand on ground that will never feel quite the same again. Distance in the physical world does not break the energetic bond between souls. Your logical mind may struggle with this, but your body knows it intimately. Energy moves through invisible channels, connecting souls who have touched each other deeply. Threads of light remain active, pulsing, even across oceans, silence, or years apart. Right now, a current runs between you, a live wire of connection transmitting thoughts, feelings, and presence both ways. That is why you can sense them thinking of you when it makes no logical sense. They feel you even when physically apart, and perhaps even more acutely because absence intensifies this frequency. When they wake in the quiet hours, when they drive familiar roads that suddenly feel foreign, when the distractions of daily life fade and stillness remains, they feel the undeniable truth of you. You exist somewhere in the world, carrying a piece of them they did not know they had given away. Jung's concept of the collective unconscious, the vast reservoir of shared human experience, holds the template for this connection, showing that what you share is not random, not fleeting, but part of something far deeper than either of you can fully explain. Your connection is not just part of your personal story, it's part of a timeless pattern of souls who meet and transform each other. This is a story as old as humanity itself, a story of love, loss, and longing that has been repeated since the first hearts knew what it meant to yearn. This is why the universe places reminders around you, why synchronicities appear, why unseen forces are quietly arranging circumstances to prepare both of you for what is yet to come. Silence is not emptiness. It is the cocoon before the butterfly. It is the necessary darkness where transformation occurs, hidden from watching eyes. What is happening to them now is not stagnation. It is profound, internal change. They are confronting parts of themselves they have long avoided, dismantling patterns they unconsciously repeated, facing fears that once dictated their choices. It is a slow, painful process, demanding courage, patience, and the willingness to sit with discomfort. You cannot witness every shift, but know that they are becoming someone different than they were before they met you. They are shedding old layers, questioning beliefs that no longer serve them, learning to hold space for a love that once terrified them. This transformation is not about you, not about obligation. It is about what meeting you revealed as possible. They cannot return to shallow connections now. They have glimpsed authenticity, depth, and the kind of love that changes everything. The universe does not waste encounters like this. What brought you together is still at work, weaving, preparing, readying both of you for a reunion that cannot happen until each has done the internal work necessary to sustain it. They are in the cocoon, forming wings you cannot yet see, and when the time is right, emergence will be inevitable. The universe speaks in a language older than words, through symbols and synchronicities that bypass logic and touch the soul directly. You have been receiving signs, whether consciously noticed or not, small confirmations that this connection is alive, moving, and supported by forces beyond either of you. Notice the repeating numbers on clocks, receipts, or license plates that feel impossible to ignore. Pay attention to the songs that find you at random, with lyrics that mirror your emotions and experiences precisely. Observe the dreams where they appear, not as memories, but as visits carrying messages your waking mind cannot yet grasp. Notice the sudden warmth in your chest, the inexplicable certainty that surfaces when logic suggests giving up. These are not fantasies or comforting illusions. They are transmissions from the energetic field that connects your souls, proof that what exists between you is real, alive, and unfolding exactly as it should. This is confirmation that what your logical mind doubts, your soul knows with absolute certainty. The universe communicates what the analytical mind dismisses, offering proof not in measurable facts, but in feelings that must be trusted and followed. When you notice these signs multiplying, when synchronicities appear too often to dismiss as coincidence, when the energy around you feels charged like the calm before a storm, understand that movement is occurring in unseen realms, soon to emerge in the visible world. Energy always shifts internally before external changes manifest. What you sense is real. What you know is true. Their return is being orchestrated in dimensions beyond your control, timed by a wisdom that knows better than your impatience. When it happens, it will likely arrive suddenly, in a moment when you've stopped checking your phone or rehearsing every possible word. It will catch you off guard, breaking through ordinary life with the force of all the emotions they've held back during weeks or months of silence. There will be no pretense, no casual explanations of busyness. There will be rawness, vulnerability they've never shown before, and honesty that only comes from someone who has spent time alone with their truth and can no longer hide it. Words may fail them, sentences may stumble, tears may fall. They may speak in fragments that you have to piece together with your heart rather than your mind. But through the imperfect delivery, the overflow of emotion, the remaining fear, you will feel the truth. Someone fundamentally changed by the experience of losing you, by the silence that taught them what your presence truly meant. It will not be a neat reunion from the fantasies of lonely nights. It will be messy, human, imperfect, and real, two souls emerging from darkness with new understanding, meeting from a place of honesty that was impossible before. In that moment, you will have a choice, whether their growth is genuine, whether you are willing to risk opening what their absence closed, whether this connection deserves the vulnerability needed to truly begin rather than just return. Yet even more important than their return is the power you hold while waiting, your refusal to make their absence the center of your life, your commitment to choosing yourself with the same intensity you once reserved for them. You have already won by deciding that your peace cannot be held hostage by another person's timeline, by knowing your worth is not defined by whether they stayed or returned. You are whole, complete, and valuable exactly as you are, with or without their presence. This is the paradox the universe wants you to understand. The less you need them, the faster they come. Even more, your happiness and completeness are not dependent on them at all. When you release the desperation of making someone else responsible for your joy, when you step into the person you were before they arrived and who will continue if they never return, when longing becomes self-love and waiting becomes self-discovery, you shift the entire energetic dynamic. You stop waiting and start living fully, unapologetically. From this place of centeredness, self-possession, and internal completeness, you become magnetic in ways neediness never could. You become the person they glimpsed when they first felt drawn to you. The one whose light was never dimmed by absence because it never relied on their presence to shine. Their return becomes inevitable, not because of manipulation or techniques, but because someone who has found themselves is simply irresistible. This message is for anyone still searching, anyone who feels the ache of absence and wonders if what they experienced was real. Wholeness always calls to wholeness across any distance. The universe conspires quietly to bring together what is meant to be, but only when both souls are ready to sustain it. Your story is not finished. Even if some chapters felt like endings, even if the silence stretched so long that doubt crept in, the universe does not create soul-level recognition to let it fade into permanent quiet. What is meant for you will not pass by. No matter how winding the journey, no matter how much time has passed, no matter how impossible reunion seems in this moment, the forces that guide soul connections operate on timelines your human mind cannot understand. With wisdom, your limited perspective cannot yet see. Always aligned with the highest good of both souls, even when the present feels uncertain. Hold the image of them standing before you again, not as the person who left, but as the person who has returned, vulnerable, honest, and ready in ways they could not be before. See them shaped by their time in darkness, softened by the loneliness they chose, carrying words they've practiced in private until they can finally speak them aloud. This is not fantasy. It is not wishful thinking. It is a future memory, an energetic blueprint, a glimpse of what is already forming in the realm of possibility, waiting to manifest in the tangible world. Love does not end in silence. It waits, gathering strength, deepening roots, preparing to bloom in soil made fertile by time, tears, and transformation. Trust the silence. Trust the waiting. Trust the invisible work being done in places you cannot see. Trust that what is yours is already yours, claimed by forces older than time, guided by a universe that never makes mistakes with connections this profound. And above all, trust yourself, the part of you that always knew, deep down, that this was not over.